Polls have opened in Iran's presidential election runoff. Today's vote will be a tight race between lawmaker Masoud Pezeshkian, the sole moderate in the original field of 4 contestants, and former Revolutionary Guards member Saeed Jalili. Polls will close at 6 p.m. local time. They are usually extended until as late as midnight. The final result will be announced on Saturday, although initial figures may come out sooner. The runoff election follows last Friday's polls, where only about 40% of voters turned up to cast their ballots. As a result, none of the 4 contestants were able to garner the 50% of votes which are needed to win, sending the election into a runoff round. In the first round, Pezeshkian won with a slight lead. The election is to choose a successor to President Ibrahim Raisi, who died in a helicopter crash earlier this year. The reformist contestant, Pezeshkian, who is a former health minister, has promised that he will engage with the West in the nuclear negotiations to lift the tough economic sanctions that are plaguing Iran's economy. On the other hand, the ultra-hardliner Saeed Jalili, a former nuclear negotiator, has portrayed a much tougher position on negotiations. He has also underlined his plans to defeat sanctions and strengthen economic ties with other countries. The next president is not expected to usher in any major policy shift in Iran's nuclear program or support for militia groups across West Asia, since Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei calls all the shots on top state matters. However, the president can influence the tone of Iran's domestic and foreign policy. Well, insiders say Khamenei is keen on a loyal and compliant president who can ensure a smooth eventual succession to his successor. And well, for more on this, we are now being joined by Fayad Izadi, who is an associate professor for world studies at the University of Tehran. He's also a columnist and political commentator and is joining us live from Tehran. Welcome to the show, Mr. Izadi. Now, polls have opened in Iran. More than who will be the next president of Iran, the question right now is on the voter turnout. Both the contestants, Pezeshkian and Jalili, said that they intend on garnering votes from the 60% of the electorate that did not participate on June 28th. Do you see that happening?
You know, they have been trying very hard to get more voters. One reason the turnout was lower than expected was that this is a snap election. Generally, on the same day that we have presidential elections, we have city council elections. And since there are tens of thousands of people who are running for city council elections and have relatives and friends, we have a push at local level for a higher turnout. We are having elections today because the president of the country passed away about 2 months ago. So the polling, the elections are on just the president. No other elections are being held. And since this is a snap election, the candidates have been presenting their cases, visiting different cities for just a few weeks. In normal elections, people who are running for president would be visiting different cities for months and months. And so this is another difference. So the lower turnout is expected. The 2 candidates, as you said, are trying to get more voters. They were close. Mr. Jalili and Mr. Pezeshkian's vote were very close. We had a 3rd candidate, Mr. Ghalibaf, who is currently the head of Iran's parliament. And basically his voters will decide who is going to be Iran's next president. If they go with Mr. Jalili, he will be. If they will go with Mr. Pezeshkian, Mr. Ghalibaf is considered a conservative candidate. So the chances of Mr. Jalili winning is higher if Mr. Ghalibaf's voters go to him, but we just have to wait and see. This is the nature of Iranian democracy. Generally, you cannot tell who's the winner until the results are counted.
But absolutely, Mr. Izadi, it's a tough contest between Pezeshkian and Jalili. Pezeshkian was leading just by 4% in the June in the June 28th elections. Now, both the contestants are on the opposite ends of the Iranian political spectrum. Each contestant could lead Iran in a starkly different manner at a time when Iran is grappling with domestic and international problems. How perhaps will the results impact Iran and the world?
You know, generally Western media outlets try to demonize Iran, try to demonize Iran's elections. The reality is that, as you said, these two people are quite different in their foreign policy outlook, in their domestic outlook, economic outlook. And yes, the country has a leader, but the president in Iran has a very powerful position. And you have seen the foreign policy of Mr. Rouhani and foreign policy of Mr. Ahmadinejad quite different, and the same leader was present in both presidencies. So we should not demolish the statue of the presidency in Iran. They can make a lot of changes. Of course, we have the parliament. The parliament will have a say in how the country is run. I think if Mr. Pezeshkian comes into office, he would try to basically improve relations with the West. Mr. Jalili used to be a nuclear negotiator. He is more cautious about opening up to the West. But when it comes to relations to Asian countries, including India, I think both candidates are going to increase relations. Iran is a member of BRICS. Iran is a member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So is India. So under these international organizations and also in bilateral relations, I think Iran's foreign policy is going to try to increase relations with countries that are on the east of Iran, no matter who is Iran's president tomorrow.
Right, Mr. Azadi, thank you so much for taking our time and joining us on the show.
Thank you.